good evening, viewers. You're watching the Tuesday edition of 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita. We'll start this show with the fresh provocation from Beijing. This is the Shaksgam Valley flashpoint that we are talking about. The war of words between India and China continues. Story number 2 on 6 Stories at 6 is the army chief's revelation on Operation Sindur. From what made Pakistan beg to the ground assault plan of the Indian army. He tells us the details about that. Story number 3 is the relief that has come in for the gig workers on the 10-minute delivery promise. And other story that we're tracking for you on 6 Stories at 6 is there is another Hindu who has been killed in Bangladesh. This is the second Hindu murder that has happened in the country in the past 24 hours. And another story that we are tracking for you is the 25% tariff threat for truce. That's the deal that Trump is trying to strike with the Khamenei. And also, last but not the least, we're going to tell you about Trump's mission Greenland. He has his eyes set on it, and we'll tell you what's happening on that front. But let's start with China. Now, China has dug in its heels over the construction activities, and it has rejected India's objection and calling it actions fully justified. Developments come after India raised objections over the announcement of a second version of the CPEC, which passes through the Shaksgam Valley in eastern Ladakh. New Delhi, first of all, has rejected CPEC. It rejects the 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China, the illegal transfer of the land that is not even owned by Pakistan. And remember, this is not the first time that China has provoked India over territorial claims using the CPEC corridor. Meanwhile, Congress party has hit out at the BJP for hosting a delegation of the Communist Party of China in New Delhi at the BJP headquarters. Because right after that comes in Beijing's provocation, reasserting claims on the Shaksgam Valley. Listen in.
China has once again sought to lay claim to the Shaksgam Valley in Ladakh, which is an integral part of India. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said Beijing considers the area to be part of its territory.
First of all, the territory you have mentioned are part of China's territory. And China's infrastructure activities in its own territory is beyond reproach.
This comes after India's protest of Pakistan and China's announcement of the launch of the second version of CPEC. India noted that it passes through Shaksgam Valley, which it says is an integral part of Ladakh. However, Beijing has defended its project in the area and rejected India's objections. Shaksgam Valley, also known as the Trans-Karakoram Tract, is a strategically vital region in the Karakoram range. China says the area falls under its jurisdiction. India says Shaksgam Valley is part of Ladakh.
首先，你提到的领土属于中国领土，中方在自己的领土上开展基础设施建设无可非议。中国和巴基斯坦已于上个世纪的60年代签署了边界协定，并且划定了两国的边界，这是中巴作为主权国家的权利。那么你提到中巴经济走廊，这是一个经济合作倡议，旨在促进当地的经济社会发展和改善民生。中巴边界协定和中巴经济走廊不影响中方在克什米尔问题上的立场，中方在这个问题上的立场没有变化。
Shaksgam Valley, an area spread over more than 5,000 square kilometers, was illegally ceded by Pakistan to China in 1963, a move India has never recognized. China is using this 1963 deal to justify its growing presence and infrastructure activity in the region. India maintains Pakistan had no authority to hand over this territory. However, China remains defiant. Beijing has rejected India's strong objection to its construction activity in Shaksgam Valley and has called its actions fully justified. China says the project is a normal infrastructure activity within its territory. China says India's objections are unfounded. India counters that China has no locus standi on Indian territory. China says Shaksgam is Chinese territory. India reiterates Shaksgam Valley is an integral and inalienable part of India.
Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese authorities several times. We have consistently protested with the Chinese side against attempts to alter the ground reality in Shaksgam Valley. We further reserve the right to take necessary measures to safeguard our interests.
Reports indicate China is building an all-weather road in Shaksgam Valley that could link the China-Pakistan economic corridor with China's strategic G219 highway. This would significantly enhance military and logistical mobility for both China and Pakistan close to India's northern borders. Security experts say this could alter strategic balance in the area.
देखिए शक्सगाम वैली की जहाँ तक बात है, पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड जो भी कश्मीर है वो भारतीय की पार्लियामेंट में पहले से ही प्रस्ताव पास हुआ है और उस प्रस्ताव के मुताबिक सारा जो पाक ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर है वो हमारा है.
Shaksgam Valley lies just north of the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, where Indian forces dominate the Saltoro Ridge. This is a strategic pressure point in India-China-Pak triangle. Vital for long-term security balance in high Himalayas, a Chinese presence here raises concerns of a potential two-front pressure scenario for India, with China to the north and Pakistan to the west. The developments come even as a delegation of the Communist Party of China, led by Sun Haiyan, Vice Minister of the International Department of the CPC, visited the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. The BJP said discussions focused on enhancing inter-party communication between the BJP and the CPC. Chinese ambassador to India, Zhu Fiehong, also joined the meeting. Congress launched a sharp attack on the BJP, alleging that China was asserting territorial claims while political engagement continued in the capital. Congress leader Supriya Srinath tweeted, "How is China showing such audacity?" And meanwhile, BJP leaders are holding meetings with China's Communist Party. Shaksgam Valley has emerged as another serious flashpoint in the already tense India-China relationship. For India, this is a direct question of sovereignty and territorial integrity as China hardens its position and expands infrastructure in the territory.
Now, in the annual press conference ahead of Army Day, the Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, has made revelations on Operation Sindur, from the plan for a ground operation to what made Pakistan beg. General Dwivedi has talked about the turning points that brought Pakistan to its knees. He reveals the set of certain orders were given to the armed forces to prepare for any eventuality if Pakistan conflict, the India-Pakistan war, escalated. And at the same time, he issued a warning against Pakistan for any misadventure in future. Very importantly, also issued a message, given the current scenario in world, given the current geopolitical scenario, that nations that remain prepared prevail. Listen in.
The Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, made a big revelation on Operation Sindur during his annual press conference ahead of Army Day. General Dwivedi revealed that the Indian Army was ready for ground assault during Operation Sindur.
आर्मी का जो मोबिलाइजेशन था वो इस प्रकार से था कि कोई भी ऐसी गलती अगर पाकिस्तान ने की जिसमें कि हमें मजबूर होना पड़ा ग्राउंड ऑपरेशन शुरू होने के लिए, हमने पूरी तैयारी कर रखी थी. तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि जहाँ तक न्यूक्लियर रिटॉरिक का सवाल था, डीजीएमओ लेवल पे कोई ऐसी बात नहीं हुई थी और कन्वेंशनल स्पेस को हमने बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ाया.
General Dwivedi also lauded the precision and synergy witnessed during the Sindur operation.
Following the Pahalgam terror attack, a clear decision to respond decisively was taken at the highest level. Op Sindur was conceptualized and executed with precision. Operation Sindur remains ongoing. Operation Sindur was the best example of tri-service synergy under clear-cut political directive and full freedom to act or respond.
He also highlighted the India's response to cross-border terrorism through Operation Sindur and the progress made in the year 2025.
India's calibrated and resolute response to cross-border terrorism demonstrated our readiness, precision and strategic clarity. Through our various initiatives as part of JAY, that is Jointness, Atmanirbharta and Innovation, clarion call given by our Honorable Prime Minister in September 25, Year of Reforms given by Honorable Raksha Mantri in January 2025, and Indian Army's own Decade of Transformation, we can be justifiably very satisfied with the progress made during the year 2025.
The Army Chief stated that nearly 8 terror camps remain active in the region, adding that the forces are closely monitoring them.
जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि क्या वापस बाहर के जो कैंप्स हैं, जो वेस्ट साइड कैंप्स हैं, जिसके बारे में मैंने अभी बताया कि 8 कैंप्स अभी भी वहाँ पे एक्टिव हैं हमारी नॉलेज में, और उस पर अभी भी लोग बैठे हुए हैं. कितने बैठे हैं ये अलग अलग इसके सोच विचार हैं, बट हमारी तरफ से अगर देखा जाए तो तकरीबन 100 से 150 लोग हो सकता है वहाँ पर बैठे हैं.
Reiterating the Army's firm resolve, General Upendra Dwivedi asserted that Operation Sindur is very much ongoing and warned that any misadventure will be met with a swift and effective response.
Now, the government has finally stepped in to slow down India's breakneck quick delivery race. After growing concerns over delivery riders risking their lives to meet impossible deadlines, Union Labour Minister Mansukh has intervened. Blinkit has now dropped its 10-minute delivery claim. Other apps are expected to follow suit. So the message is clear that convenience cannot come at the cost of human lives, at the cost of safety. And this happened after there was persistent pressure and there were strikes also by the gig workers. Take a look at this report.
For years, quick commerce platforms built their identity around speed, celebrating delivery in minutes. But behind that promise was a silent pressure, pushing riders to race, rush and risk their safety on the roads. Amid rising concerns, the Union Labour Minister, Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya, has stepped in, calling major delivery platforms for discussions. Following the intervention, Blinkit has removed its iconic 10-minute delivery claim from all platforms. Other giants have assured the government that they too will step back from strict delivery time commitments.
डिमांड तो अभी बहुत सारी है. सबसे पहले तो है कि इनको एम्प्लॉय का दर्जा दिया जाए. दूसरा, 15-15 घंटे काम करके गिग वर्कर या ब्लिंकिट, स्विगी, जोमेटो मुश्किल से 500-700-800 रुपये कमा पाता है 15 घंटे काम करके, तो उसको मिनिमम वेजेस के दायरे में लेके आया जाए. इनके लिए कोई पेंशन स्कीम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई मेडिक्लेम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई इंश्योरेंस नहीं है. बाइक का पेट्रोल इनको अपनी जेब से खर्चा करना पड़ता है. मान लीजिए ई स्कूटी भी ले रखी है तो किराए पे ले रखी है. और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि मान लीजिए दिल्ली है या बॉम्बे है या कलकत्ता है, मद्रास है, बड़े शहर हैं, जितना भी गिग वर्कर है वहां पर वो बाहर के शहरों, छोटे शहरों से, गांवों से आके नौकरी कर रहा है.
The push for reform gained momentum after gig workers across India protested. From Telangana to major metros, riders demanded dignity, fair pay, safer working conditions, and recognition of their contribution. In response, the government has proposed a major welfare move. Gig workers may soon receive access to central social security schemes, including health and accidental insurance. Now, as India's quick delivery promises slow down, a bigger promise takes shape of respect and protection for the workforce that delivers convenience to millions every single day.
Now, the disturbing pattern of violence against Hindus continue to escalate in Bangladesh. 2 more Hindus were brutally killed in Bangladesh in the past 24 hours. That makes a total of 8 Hindu murders in 24 days in Bangladesh. And in the recent killing, an auto rickshaw driver named Samir Das was hacked and stabbed to death by miscreants in Feni district of Bangladesh. His body was recovered from a crop field in Jagatpur village of Bangladesh. Is more.
There seems no end to the target killing of Hindus in Bangladesh. In the past 24 hours, 2 Hindus have been brutally murdered in Bangladesh. Latest case is that of an auto rickshaw driver, Samir Kumar Das, was also found murdered in a crop field. Locals reportedly spotted his blood-soaked body near Muhuribari in South Karimpur. As per the police, Samir suffered multiple stab wounds and had signs of severe assault. The police also stated that after killing him, the attacker stole his battery-operated auto rickshaw and fled. Not just this, veteran Bangladeshi singer and Awami League leader Prolay Chaki, who died in custody. Family alleges negligence and denial of medical care from the authorities. Chaki, a popular singer of the 1980s, served as Cultural Affairs Secretary of the Pabna District Awami League. Proloy was arrested on 16 December 2025 in connection with an alleged attack during the anti-discrimination student movement and later sent to jail. In fact, this is the 8th Hindu to be murdered in the past 24 days. First Deepu Chandra Das, then Amrit Mondal and Khokon Chandra Das, who were brutally lynched and killed. The list has been growing. There has been little or no action. Nothing done to stop the persecution of Hindus in the country, a free run given to the radical extremists. Yunus government ahead of the elections has seemingly no control, or rather, it is under the control of the extremists. Jamaat-e-Islami calling the shots.
And as Iran witnesses its most intense wave of protests in decades, deadly protests, the United States has sharply hardened its position once again against Tehran. President Donald Trump now has announced fresh economic pressure on Tehran, a 25% tariff on countries trading with Iran, while keeping military options on the table. Even as Washington signals a tough line, Iran says that it is open to dialogue. Here's the full story.
US-Iran tensions escalating. Washington weighs a hardline response to Iran's bloodiest protests in decades. President Donald Trump has announced sweeping new measures aimed at exerting maximum pressure on Tehran. The protests in Iran, now in their 3rd week, were sparked by economic hardship and have morphed into nationwide demands for political change. With civil liberties groups reporting hundreds of fatalities and thousands detained. In response, President Trump took to social media to declare that any nation doing business with Iran will now face a 25% tariff on trade with the United States, effective immediately. The tariff announcement has raised concerns among major trading partners of Iran, including India and China. The White House has not formally detailed the legal basis for the tariffs or how they will be enforced, but the move is seen as part of a broader strategy to isolate Iran economically and diplomatically. At the same time, Trump signaled that very strong options remain on the table, including the possibility of military action.
I think one thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately, and I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran.
Tehran, however, maintains that it is open to negotiations even as it rejects foreign interference. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei warned the United States to stop deceitful actions and reliance on traitorous hirelings. In a series of posts on X, Khamenei further added, "The Iranian nation is strong, powerful and aware. It knows the enemy and is always present on the scene." Meanwhile, Western governments urge restraint and respect for human rights, while Iran's leadership warns that any external military action would be met with a forceful response. With protests deepening and the United States surveying military actions, Iran now stands at the center of a rapidly unfolding global crisis, with significant implications for regional stability and world markets.
And on to the final story, US President Donald Trump's Greenland push is back in focus. A Republican lawmaker in US Congress has now moved a bill seeking to annex Greenland and make it America's 51st state. Now, this proposal has triggered sharp reactions internationally, with Denmark and Greenland rejecting any such move. Here's a detailed report on that.
Another step towards Donald Trump's Greenland push, now through legislation. A US Congressman, Randy Fine, has introduced a bill in the House of Representatives that would allow the American president to take steps to acquire Greenland. The proposed law talks about annexation and even future statehood for the island. This comes after Donald Trump once again spoke about doing something on Greenland, reviving his old pitch to bring the Arctic island under American control. Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark and is located in the strategically crucial Arctic region. It is rich in rare earth minerals and lies close to key shipping routes and military pathways. Supporters of the bill claim Greenland is vital for America's national security. They argue it would help counter growing Chinese and Russian influence in the Arctic. But Denmark has made its position clear. Copenhagen says Greenland is not for sale and its future can be only decided by its people. Greenland's own leadership has also rejected the proposal, saying the island is not a commodity to be bought, sold or annexed. Interestingly, the move has divided American lawmakers themselves. Some Republicans support the idea, while Democrats have introduced counter bills to stop any attempt at annexation. But Trump remains rigid, saying he has not ruled out using military force. Trump says he plans to take control of the island the easy way or the hard way. This is not the first time the US has shown interest in Greenland. Washington had explored buying the island during the Cold War. Trump also previously made an offer to buy the island in 2019 during his first presidential term, but was told it was not for sale. He revived his interest shortly after returning to the White House in January 2025. For now, the Greenland annexation bill remains a political statement rather than a legal reality. But the big question is, will this stop Donald Trump's territorial ambitions?
And that's all we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. We'll be right back with breaking news at 6:30 p.m. Thanks for watching.
MDH